Hi, can anyone see this? Sorry if you see this, and I'm just kind of like fucking around.
Sorry if you see this, and I'm just kind of like.
I thought I would have a tech, and seems like I'm flying solo tonight. Therefore, no opening crawl and no what have yous. But yeah, so I'm a little bit. I don't know if hung out to dry is too judgmental. I'm fine. Everything is fine. Everything is good. I'm not frustrated at all. Welcome to Joy of Posting, unceremoniously started. My name is Rachel Edelman, and I am live on the stream. And thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. I'm just letting people know that that I'm live now on the Twitter because if I don't promote the show a lot, people don't watch it, and if I promote the show a lot, people will watch it, and if I promote the show more than that, people will watch it, but they'll also be annoyed. So I have to hit that real fucking sweet spot where I don't alienate anybody. But hello, hi, hi Sarah. Right now you're one of 3 viewers. Hello. Yeah, so whether or not I have a tech, whether or not that is my dog is barking. If I'd had an opening 2-minute crawl, I would have used it probably to bring him up the stairs, but now he's barking because he wants to go upstairs and he can't climb the stairs on his own. That's a thing. That's a thing that's true. Hello, abolish the Senate. Wow, I really wish I had time to bring my dog up the stairs because he's just going to be barking. I can't really leave the seat because otherwise the stream is dead. But I really, it's going to be annoying. Hello, Arthur. Thank you, Arthur, for coming into the stream. I really do appreciate it. Thank you, Arthur. Oh boy, what a night tonight has been. If you are hello Matt, hello Arthur, hello everybody who has access to the TMB Studios account. Yeah, so we thought we would have one tech, and instead we have two other people who are the techs or here. So yeah, if you've never watched the show before, it's the show where I write jokes for the internet. Matt can sing a song for you if you pay $20 to the Patreon. My dog is now sniffing behind me. Hello, Dad. I'm doing my show right now. Can you bring the dog up and then leave me alone for an hour and a half?
Okay. Is the show on right now?
The show's on right now. Everyone can hear you. Everyone can see you.
Okay.
And everyone can see this. Thank you. Thank you for taking the dog away. Show Dad, yeah. This is a show where I write jokes for the internet. I write them for Twitter, and you'll get to see me write them for you. You may notice on previous weeks, it's gotten a bit fancier. I've had my head inside Bob Ross's head, and there's been music, and now it's probably just me talking and no music and just a StreamYard. And that is because we thought we would have someone else doing the tech who didn't have necessarily the amount of OBS experience to deliver that, flawless OBS presentation that you would have become acquainted with. Thank you. Poor starving dad locked out of the kitchen again. You know what? I tell them every week I need the kitchen for 90 minutes. You can eat, you can procure as much food as you want at any other point in time. This time is my time, and it's not a surprise. It's not spontaneous. I don't wake up 5 minutes before the show. It's like, what would be a fun idea? They all know it's happening, so there's no excuses. But Pfeiffer, I assume you are riding a stationary bike. I assume you're not riding through a courtyard or through a town square as you're watching this. We're here for the tweets, not the bells and the whistles. That's what they say. Oh, let's see how many people are watching. All 9 of you. Thank you for watching. I'll be like, after the show, I'll be like, okay, so the bells and whistles did bring in a few people. They did bring in 4 or 5 people. So, I'm sorry, I'm just a little out of sorts. Ike Blue says we'll have to use the power of our imaginations. We're taping a collage to our monitors to visualize the Bob Ross coif around you. Thank you. Please, to the extent you can, imagine that my head is inside Bob Ross's head. Imagine that nothing has changed and nothing is wrong. Nothing's wrong. Everything's fine. It's funny. I don't think I'm necessarily an angry person. I feel like I'm someone who is good at anger, and so throughout the day, you hit like 20 or 30 or 40 scenarios where you're like, anger could be the response I feel like right now. I wonder if I will indulge myself or not. And I'm choosing for now not to indulge. I may indulge later. So things are what they are. I don't mean for this to just be an advertisement for our show, for our kind of ancillary revenue streams, but I was just looking at our lovely merch before the show was starting, which is all quite incidentally 30% off. So we had Sarah Jane Burns on the Genuine Nonsense, the Tuesday 7 o'clock show yesterday, and she was talking all about her visual arts and getting incredibly into watercolor during the pandemic. And here you can see her lovely, she drew this for us. We asked her if she wanted to do some art for our merch store, and she did these really beautiful, I think, stacked sandwiches that are 90% bread and a little bit of sandwich filler, and they're all watercolor, and she scanned them, and they're gorgeous, and you can get them on all sorts of products. If I can lean in slightly into the QVC portion of this show, where I just sell you guys shit, but you see we have the all the ways you can cover the trunk of your body, the way you can cover your child's trunk, your sapling. A child's trunk is known as a sapling branch, right? We also got mugs and masks, even though you're like, we still need masks. We'll probably still need masks, right? For the insides, for the indoors. We get magnets and laptop cases and phone cases and all that good stuff. So you can get this really cute visual component, all sorts of stuff. And we have stickers and all sorts of things. And it's pretty cool. I think it's cool. And so every couple of months, I think every 2 or 3 months, we collaborate with a new artist we really love. And so the month of April, we until June, Sarah is our featured artist, and her stuff is our kind of featured collab. So that was just stuff I was looking at before the show was starting, which it then did pretty abruptly. But all that said, I know what this show is really about. This show is really about not me selling you the wonderful products from our store, but about tweeting. And Baller says, my mom just visited, and we mostly didn't use masks together, but she kept hers on in the apartment to see if it would help her cat allergies, and it did. Yes. I've heard this a lot. I've heard about kind of the, the tertiary benefits, the tertiary benefits of mask wearing. That the flu's gone down. That other respiratory illnesses that are contagious have gone down with mask wearing. Get in here. Can people get into here to my stream? I like to promote the stream while I'm on the stream. I feel like that is something that the format of the show, which is sort of, one would say, irresponsibly loose, lets me do. I can just sort of promote the stream midstream because I think that people should watch it, even if it's just me talking, which it mostly is. I think it's a fun show, and I think people would do well to appreciate it. Mouse are bad at engineering. I don't know if there's I'm trying to think of all the animals that don't have mouths, and I'm like, you probably have to kind of climb up that ladder, like as species, genus, and then family. You probably have to climb up a few branches before you start getting to unmouthed creatures. Like I think there's probably skin. There's like amoebas that probably mostly absorb through the skin. And some, right, the side effect of wearing masks outside, not having bugs in your mouth when all the young mosquitoes are forming giant clouds in the spring. I know, don't you hate it when you're just outside and every single insect in the vicinity just decides it wants a new home, and that home is your jaws. But yeah, and especially if somebody ever decides that they want to like leave dramatically and throw some like a smoke bomb on the ground, that's another good way for masks to be helpful. So I'm gonna just kind of pump this up a little bit. Make sure I personally watch a lot of the streams on my phone, so I always want to make sure that when I'm doing stuff on the stream, for example, typing or writing, that the font is big enough that anyone watching the stream can see it. Mask wearing. Wearing benefits. They'll exceed squaring. Hopefully people recognize the benefits of mask wearing long after COVID, after the general population is vaccinated for COVID. For example, no longer in a sense it gets too big for me to write, so we're just gonna fiddle with this. I like to fiddle. I'm a good fiddler. Not the kind that produces music, but the kind that produces consternation. You've robbed you of your hot face years. To be frank, I did like how I never had to worry about whether I had forgotten to shave my, if my chin was in a fuzzier portion of its fuzz cycle, I could just put a mask on it, but now I have to worry about that stuff again. My faces are hotter now, forbidden fruit effect. Hopefully people recognize the benefits of mask wearing long after the population is vaccinated for COVID. For example, no longer will I, for example, it's been a year since, over a year since I choked on the fumes of someone's smoke bomb to generate a dramatic exit. Let's see if this is maybe 2 mouths, maybe 3. We can't even begin to really appreciate what could possibly be under your mask. It's been so long. Hopefully people recognize the benefits of mask wearing long after the general population is vaccinated for COVID. For example, it's been over a year since I choked on the fumes of someone's smoke bomb thrown on the ground to generate a dramatic exit. That's a pretty good tweet. I think so. It cuts the mustard. In my view, it does. Yeah, I'm still sort of reeling over that very abrupt beginning of the show. But yeah, I'm like, I'm all out of sorts. I was supposed to have a countdown, and I was supposed to have a chance to run up and down the stairs as I go to the bathroom during the countdown. I have a whole ritual, you guys. It's been long enough for me to have a ritual. Cold open, very cold open. I am freezing. Do you have a character counter somewhere, or are you just very good at estimating how much space 240 characters takes in that font? Yeah, I just, for me, I just sort of guess. I feel like I write tweets enough that I vaguely know how long one is allowed to be, and then sometimes I get in here and I'm like, oh, it's 15. Oh, hello, Abolish the Senate. It looks like you have a new Twitter account. Yeah, I kind of guess, and then I get in there and it's like, oh, you're 15 over, and then I just kind of like hastily rewrite it so it's shorter. Generally, it can be shorter. Half the fun is trimming it down or bulking it up to fit, though. I feel like I don't know how long it's been since I've talked about kind of my philosophy vis-a-vis the length of tweeting or the length that post should be. My feeling is you can have a really funny short tweet, but those aren't generally the kind which lend themselves to being created during a show like this. Those are sort of like you're walking among nature. You're unimpeded by the responsibility of being funny for an audience, and suddenly a very perfectly polished brief gem enters your head, sort of fully formed, and you're like, oh, this tweet is both very funny and both very brief. In this show, we're kind of laboriously building these tweets out, which lends itself toward making tweets that are good, that are stable. They have a strong grounding. They have a strong flooring, but they're not like beautiful. They're not like elegant tweets. They're sort of like you're like, okay, we're gonna put the bricks here, and we're gonna build a squat brick house that you can live in. It's not necessarily always the prettiest thing you've ever seen, but you can live in it and it won't fall down on you. And that's kind of how I think of the tweets I write on this show. Because you're really like, because I think that what happens is people, I think one of the number one things people assume when they're writing tweets is that tweets are just kind of thoughts, and or like a good tweet or a good tweet that people enjoy is just like a thought you have, and the tweet should have a joke structure, like, and sometimes the joke structure is hidden or sort of it's sort of secreted away. It's sort of relying on assumptions which, like, when brought out and made explicit, bring forth to the eye the structure of the joke. And so for here, I always lean on going longer and more complicated than shorter, and less and less full or less thickened, because I'm like, if I go longer, I can kind of get a lot of the gears in there, even if they're not elegant, to create kind of the machinations of a joke. Even again, there maybe like some of the bones are showing more than they otherwise would. Cool. So I'm just going to mute my notifications, because I'm getting some notifications from Monsieur Facebook messages. And those, you don't need to know that I'm getting messages, and I don't need to know I'm getting messages. They're not for us. So, so we're going to write some more. And before that we do anything else, I just want to read this quickly. Abolish lasagna. I have to read the rest of this trending topic. I'm sorry. After Iowa Senator Joni Ernst unveiled a graphic showing policies that would be popular on liberal fantasy island ahead of President Biden's first joint address to Congress, an edited version of the image replacing abolish ICE with abolish lasagna is doing the rounds. Trending with Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know any of that stuff. I don't know why it would. I mean, abolish ICE sounds very nice to me. As almost fooled into passing the edited image on Israel, it's great. You better abolish Monday too, or Garfield is going to be pissed. I hate it. It is like really annoying when Republicans are like, they're so radical, they're going to, and then they say something that you're like, God, I wish that they would be for that thing you just said. Like, they're so radical, they're such a Marxist, they're for, like, eradicating, like, school lunch debt, and you're like, that would be wonderful. I know that they're not, but I wish that they would be. Anyway, it's so frustrating. Politics is a losing game, as Amy Winehouse, I think, once sang. Has sex blimps. Oh, you think you should just have a place to live? Guaranteed by the government? Yeah, Republicans love to say Democrats are so radical. They want to surf while eating pizza on their way to what's it called? What's like a third what's a third like cool thing on their way to the graffiti tattoo parlor? To the graffiti alley tattoo parlor. Man, I wish they were that cool. To the graffiti on a yacht. Graffiti school. Radical Marxist president that rewrote bankruptcy law to benefit banks. On their way to teach graffiti conference. I'm like, what is like, you're always like, what is that exact level of, what's the nuance of this nonsense? Like, what's the exact level of nonsense I want? My mom really likes MSNBC. She really likes like Nicole Wallace, which is so funny because it's like, I don't know what, like she's sort of like, oh, I'm kind of like the reasonable center person. But like she used to work for Sarah Palin. And so I'm just like, you're either one of those like somebody who's like a psychotic like careerist, or like you genuinely had terrible politics. In either case, like I don't trust your judgment, but my mom's into her. Anyway, it's frustrating. Everything's frustrating. Everything is frustrating. Today I stubbed my toe on and then like, what's something that would be stupid to stub your toe on? Everything is frustrating. Today I stubbed my toe on a news report that things are getting worse. That a news report that stubbing your toe is a stubbing your toe. I think, what is like a frustrating? I know, right, but Pfeiffer, it's sort of like you're like, something is wrong with you. Like, it's not a question of whether something is wrong with this person. It's like a question of like the type of wrong they are. Today I said my toe on a news report that how collecting news reports. Today I set my toe on a news report retracting the recent story about how collecting news reports is good for toe health. Stacking news reports on the floor, good for toe health. No matter what I do, everything is frustrating today. I stubbed my toe on a news report retracting the recent story about how stacking news reports on the floor is good for toe health. No matter what I do, etc. Sorry, whenever you hear a honk, it's my phone going off, and my phone just let me know that I have all 5 lives in Project Makeover, the incredibly silly, asinine puzzle game that I play while I'm doing other things. Everything is frustrating today. I stubbed my toe on a news report retracting the recent story about how stacking news reports on the floor is good for toe health. It's like no matter what I do, etc. Oh, but like, are you playing that game too? A class vibe of fictional presidential campaign. She's like, instead of, after, spending, a chunk of my life trying to get, a nitwit put into one of the most powerful positions on earth, I'm going to monetize my own efforts at sabotaging the country with a book about it. And then I'm going to go and be the news lady where I talk about how the Republicans are stupid all the time, even though I was a key a key cog in their machine, and I deserve no forgiveness. It's a character on the show. Let's see. I think that, let's see, how am I doing for, I'm down to 11 viewers, which I don't like. Let me go back to my main. I've been tweeting on my alt, which is what I call the 2MV is my alt. Just going to stop by. I am streaming right now. Would love to imagine your face. Would love to see whatever smelt from of you that Twitch allows. And you just kind of like, for me, a part of the stream, it's just being like really aggressive, just being like, I have to promote the show, 100 times, and then like 5 people will join, and then I'll feel like a little bit better about the numbers and so forth. I really don't understand how there are like people who like there are people who stream for like hundreds of hours to like no one, and I like just don't have the personality to deal with that. I'm like I game alone. I game for no one, or like if part of this is gaming for someone, then I would make that the priority. And if I wasn't getting anywhere, I would stop or I would change tactics. A Gundam Gacha game. I feel like I try to be personally welcoming to someone saying they're repudiating Republicans. Could offer the off-ramp, but I wouldn't give her shows, book deals, or jobs of public trust. I agree, abolish. I bought a bundle because I thought it had some cool equipment that ended up being cosmetic sunglasses. I don't know. Sunglasses sound like pretty cool equipment to me. Let's see. What is it? The first one's free. First one's free. Feels like a good idea for the top of a tweet if I can think of the rest of the tweet. Me after someone fell into my wandered onto my property and fell into my famous bottom hole. A hole you or only if you manage to fall in or yeah. Pre-limed beer. Beer is alcohol. First one's free. Me after someone wandered onto my property and fell into my famous bottomless hole. A hole you have to pay for only if you manage to fall in. A second time or more. The hole of the economic philosopher. That reminds me, it's not quite a one-to-one, but it does remind me of, I think when you're growing up, there are a lot of movies that you are not like age appropriate for, or either that or they're not like quite in the realm of your tastes. And so they kind of pass you by but you never kind of quite lose your curiosity about them. For example, I was just thinking about, as a consequence of this tweet, I was suddenly reminded of, I believe the name of the movie is The Ruins, about a bunch of tourists who are trapped on ruins, and they can't leave the ruins, and I think they are getting killed on the ruins. It's a horror movie. I think it's based on a book, and it reminded me of it was what I was reminded of thinking about a hole that is like a bottomless hole that you can't escape from. And I was like, oh, right, the ruins. I remember seeing commercials for the ruins and finding the premise quite intriguing, but either it was looked too scary or too adult, or it was simply not of quite the films, quite a member of the films I was watching at the time. But now I feel like I must return to the ruins because I must find out if they really do execute that premise in an interesting way. I hope no one ruins the ending for me either. The snowman on it. Here, are you referring to the animated film, The Snowman, or this film where was it Tim Allen or someone of Tim Allen's category of actor becomes a snowman? Oh, there he is, the scary snowman. Yeah, I think that it's a good idea to revisit the things which have always caught our kind of initial fascination, because I think it's fun to explore that and fun to revisit that. From Windows 95's game. Yeah. I was thinking, I was like, oh, how are these? Let me see if the images, the Google. I know the ruins isn't quite. I think if I add the word movie, it'll give me what I want. The ruins movie poster. Yeah, there are vines involved. And oh yeah, and I remembered also. I think the other point of interest is that it starred Jenna Malone, who I was interested in at the time. Oh, here they are. She's screaming. She's bleeding. They're trying to help, and so I remember it being quite kind of evocative. And you can get apparently the Ruins movie costume theme display is available. Here you see them looking quite upset for having come to the ruins. And I think there's a well involved, and I think there's some vines. I think it's just like a really bad time. And the ruins look like this, and they're kind of stuck on them. I agree with that. I think that's really cool. I will admit that I am a bit of a wimp. I started the movie that's on Netflix that everyone was speaking highly of. I think it's a zombie movie. I think it's called Cargo, with the guy who played, I think it's Martin Freeman, and they're in Australia, and it's a zombie movie, and the wife has just entered onto the boat. I know she's gonna get it, and I just need to emotionally reconcile the fact that she's gonna get it, and that I should just let it play out. Maybe even turn the volume off and just play with subtitles. I'm like, okay, I just have to play through the movie. I have to play out the sequence where she gets it, and then I can kind of move on and see what else people are talking about. I don't know if I'd rewatch Goonies, but I'm glad I eventually did watch it for the references and cultural context, and I definitely would have enjoyed it even less when it came out. The Goonies, I feel, is like one of those films where I hadn't watched it when I was little. I think I watched it the first time when I was in high school with other friends of mine from high school. We were all watching it together, and they had seen it when they were kids, and they were all hyped. And I remember watching it, and I'm like, this is a piece of shit. This is not a good film. So I haven't watched it in a long time, but I can't imagine that I'd be more generous to it now. A movie about 5 minutes of which deeply disturbing as a kid, I've never been able to identify it. I think the movie that most freaked me out as a child or like the commercials for it most freaked me out was probably Thinner. Thinner, they're like, I keep losing weight and I can't stop, and I'm cursed, and this lady cursed me, and I'm like, oh, it's so scary. It's so it's like this poor guy. I just felt really bad for him. Yeah, Pulp Fiction I like. Pulp Fiction's good. I'm trying to think of what makes Pulp Fiction good. Pulp Fiction is just good. It's just like I like the I don't know, it's fun. It's like a fun, even if they like talk, they have that like Tarantino way of talking, which I'm not particularly fond of. Like it's just like and you're like, oh, it's like the colors and the non-linear, and everyone has like this fun attitude. I do remember when I watched Pulp Fiction, I was at my friend's house, and I don't know why we came to this decision, but we decided, or she and me and her parents decided, at some point a decision was arrived at that we would rent 2 films and then we'd watch them, apparently in succession, or possibly one for one night, another for the morning or the next day. But the 2, I rented Pulp Fiction, and my friend rented The New Guy, which is a movie about like a geek becomes like a cool guy. It's like a really like shitty teen movie, and at some point I don't know why, but like somehow I like lost the battle that we'd watch Pulp Fiction first. So I had to like, not only did I have to, I felt compelled by the social milieu to watch The New Guy, but I was watching The New Guy going, I just want this to be over so I can watch Pulp Fiction, which is all I want to watch. But it was very hard. It was a hard, really suffered for that one. You know, you're not like you're not like a cool older adult who's used to staying up at all hours. You're like a kid, and you're like, oh, it's 2 a.m. Gotta finish this fucking movie. Anyway, more jokey jokes. More jokes. I hate that, like, even the things that I'm trying to get inspiration from is like, they're like, oh, abolish lasagna. I'm like, I already wrote my lasagna tweet of the summer last year. Like, lasagna is pasta, but it's a book. Like, lasagna is a good pasta if you want to eat a book or something. And that did really well. So now I'm like, oh, I don't want to go back to the lasagna well. I actually forget if the parents were involved in us watching Pulp Fiction. I was just glad that we got to see it. Fiction taught me to be lonely. Okay, to be many films I've seen have imparted lessons. Fun. friends had the nerve to start Braveheart at 11:30 after we drove to New York. Only ever seen the first hour. It was that it could be fun to be non-linear. Oh yeah, I still hold dead. I don't know what I still hold dead means. Like, I'm like, if it meant something, I might keep it. But I feel like that's just sort of like poetic, poetic ambiguity to no particular end. As much a fan of poetic ambiguity as I am. They used to shoot films. Sorry, my nose is itching. They used to shoot films with cameras. You had to crank. The faster you crank, the slower, more slowly things seem to move. I feel like that has been taking the shit out of to move the film. Your camera. I'm creating that flash. Just I'm rotating it like an N64 controller. Now I'm doing Mario Party. Used to shoot moves. They used to shoot movies. It is funny when you think about the word movie and you're like, oh, that's actually super dumb. You call them because you move. They're kind of movie, you know. It's like one of those things that's like so dumb, but then you like, it's like okay as long as you don't linger on it. I feel like that actually applies to most things in the creation. Just actually, Ansel, I will be stealing your punchline. No daylight between movies done and film cinema. Pretentious. Going back in time to call them the motions. I do like. I wish it's so old timey that it's. I think it's pretentious by dint of being old timey, but I do like the way people used to call them flickers, which I feel like is very fun. You know, they flicker, which for whatever reason that strikes me as less stupid than movie, because like flicker is like a word, so like they go flicky, but they do flicker. We went to see a flicker, and I'm like, that's kind of like, I feel really hip. I feel like a cool guy in 1923 when I say the word flicker, and I maybe for that reason alone, I should start adopting it. Is flick? Yeah, you're gonna go see a flick. Yeah, I think flick is probably the now that I'm registering, flick is actually a commonly used term. Flick is probably the one. You want to go see a flick? Flicker box. I actually don't like this one. It's like the setup is so long, and then I feel like the payout is like it's not bad. It's just it doesn't justify the amount of wind up. ironically. German slang word for TV is Flickerbox. In Germany, we watch the Flickerbox. We like to flicker our boxes. A wiki. And there's one projector showing and not short for flickering light. That's interesting. Ba 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 ba. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. Stuff going on out in the world that my phone needs to honk at me at. Let's see. Top hats. I'm feeling like a little bit dry. My adoring public. They're like, honk honk, you've been CC'd on this show that you're helping book. I'm like, I feel very special right now. Top hats, low hats, side hats, top hats, fancy low hats, what's it called? It's like a low. Is that a hi-hat? A hi-hat is the drum thing, right? A hi-hat. Hi-hat. Drummy. Side hats. Fancy, drummy. Cow. Top, high, low hat. Up. Bottom hat. I don't know if this is good at all. Like, stop it. Top hat's fancy, high hat's drummy, side hat's how, low hat speak up, bottom hat stop that. Hat. Right, slightly risky. Bottom hat, and then ground hat. Green hat, cute. Green hat. There's a moon hat. I guess there's hats with moons on them. I'm trying to think of like a way to end this. Rude and Top hat's fancy, high hat's drummy, side hat's howl, low hat speak up, bottom hat rude, and then front hats or back hats. Front hat or back hat. Let me just end it. Please stop sitting on my head. I also wrote a Ninja Turtle tweet the other day, or not the other day, like last year, but I retweeted it a couple months ago, and I kind of like started up again. It was like, the Ninja Turtles are not, they do not have their own personalities. The masks are the personalities, and then like every day they wake up and they put on the mask that they feel like taking on the persona of. So whoever is wearing the orange mask acts like Michelangelo, and Michelangelo is like a persona you inhabit, but there's no real Michelangelo. That was like my good. It was like my good Ninja Turtle joke. The thing about the Ninja Turtles is they if they felt like it, they could probably simply choose to defeat their enemies by outliving them. Thing about the Ninja Turtles is that they felt like it. They felt like it. They could simply choose to defeat their enemies by outliving them. Turtles live a long time. Feels like someone should bring that up. I like a pretty good one. It's like, what? Isn't there like an old turtle that's like 400 years old? You're like, Shredder's just a guy. Unless the implication is that because they're like radioactive, that their like lives are like halved, or they're gonna get cancer, like they're gonna like fall apart earlier. But I'd like to think they that won't happen. You ever like look at a turtle and then like, how close to Ninja Turtles are these guys? You're like, this guy's gonna solve a crime. This guy's gonna really save the day over here. You ever just like looked at a turtle? It's like, that guy's not gonna do shit. He's like, why are you looking at me? He's like, I'm not fun. You think Raphael is angry? You're like, have you talked? You're like, that's our baseline. all turtles look angry to me. Like look deep. Like I know that like sometimes they like look like they're having a good time, but not in the eyes. They never look like they never have fun, happy eyes. This guy's really mad. They call Raphael, cool but rude. Due to his tactic of waiting until his opponent turtle on them, they can't defend themselves against him. One of my earliest childhood memories is watching like a special on turtles and watching like the mom poop. It looked like poop. She like pooped the eggs into the beach. I'm sure this is like a very common early memory because everyone. I feel like the first thing you do when you're a kid is watch like nature specials. You're like what? You're like what is what's appropriate for children, and also like we'll teach them something. Oh, give them a nature special. I like baby turtles. This guy's gotta you gotta collect saliva. Turtles are cute though. He's like, I hate this, but I like it, and I like it, but I hate it. I feel like that's pretty good. It's a pretty good summation of the whole deal. Let's do some more. Let's do some more jokes. I haven't written a ton tonight. It's like why I chime. Join the millions loving chime. Like, fuck you. I don't know what chime is. Don't make me find out why people love chime. I'm so angry. Let's see. Let's deconstruct some more cartoons and or movies and or like song lyrics. I feel like a comedian's job is mostly just deconstructing and going like, why is that? Why is that? That's stupid. That's not how you should have done it. That's silly. That's a silly way of proceeding with that line of logic. Like, you can do that with anything. You're like, what's the Smurfs? You know, it's so easy to pick apart things. You're like, why do they wear the hats? Like, the hats are dumb. Why do they not wear their pants are their shoes, which I don't feel like is ever brought up. Like, people never bring that up. Also, I really dislike these CGI Smurfs. I like really detest the fact that they're a plurality, if not a majority of the search results. Chime is some kind of credit card payment thing, I think, and I also know that I had that in my sidebar. Promoted tweets for Chime in my TL. I'm the Phrygian cap. What's the Phrygian? Yeah, that makes sense. This guy looks like Smurfs. Smurf assholes. Everybody's a Smurf. Ever go to Phrygia? Everyone is. Let's see. Just throw this on here. That wasn't even someone texting me. That was simply my phone deciding that I needed to know something about Kamala Harris that it would have shown me if I had clicked and found out more. Yeah, the cosplayers are kind of uniquely terrible looking. And I hate how they never like fucking. It never clips where I want. Gotta get the feet in there, but not like that. Ugh. Yeah. The thing about the Smurfs is that their shoes and pants are one garment, which blows my mind in terms of its sheer impracticality. Strumps. No, strumps is a word I can get behind, only because it makes them sound like a delicious strudel. Should have called them. Shoe. Except for the Lady Smurf, like, because by dint of her wearing a dress, the dress and the shirt and the high heels, of course, are a second garment. Can't figure out. The thing about the Smurfs is that their shoes and pants are one garment, which blows my mind in terms of its sheer practicality. Should have called them the guys who can't figure out. First thing about clothes, shoes should be separate. Separate. Those words, it's like I should know it. It's separate, right? Separate. Like, is it two E's? Is it an E and an A? Who knows? Well, that one I'm just getting. Whatever. I don't care. I'll never learn. I'll never remember. And I'll always ask me to help. The thing about the Smurfs is their shoes and pants are one garment, which blows my mind in terms of its sheer practicality. Should have called them the guys who can't figure out the first thing about clothes. Shoes should be separate. So Belgians are even divided in what they call their chief cultural export. Makes sense. Spaans. Belgium speaks both French and Flemish and Dutch, as well as a lot of English. Guys who take my time as a pee. How do you wash the pants? I think that it's implied that there's a God. There's impreg poured in here. I think there's like a hole where the tail is. Also, like, I never think about the fact that Smurfs have tails. But they do. They have like these little nubby tails. Really not brought up a lot. Although you can't see them. Okay, so like, yeah, this guy's got a tail. So I assume that they expel their waste through the tail hole. I assume that the tail hole is like where their cloaca is or something. I don't know. Because to me that's just like the only way you can justify a pant shoe combo is if there's a hole already in the garment where you excrete. Just thinking about it. But yeah, like I like the fact that comedy is just pulling something apart. Let's do something. What else can we savage tonight? What else are we going to make fun of? Let's make fun of. I was like, let's make fun of flowers, and we're just gonna like really just roast these fucking guys. Have enough petals, you dumb fucks. God, you disgust me. Or choose a color. Oh, look at you! Like, choose a color. What am I? What am I? What am I? Like a guy? Smiley. I know who decided the smiley face should be yellow. This guy's like, what if I became the Joker and made a creepy smiley face? And I'm like, oh, fuck off. This is like a yard sign. The Piccolo. That's a cloaca. Oh, all of the characters on Dragon Ball Z have cloacas, especially Goku. Goku has a cloaca. All of the Saiyans have cloacas. And all of the baddies have cloacas. I know that if I click on Lauren Boebert, it's going to be like the most asinine piece of shit thing. I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to touch it. Oh, the smiley faces are in love. You can get shower curtains they're like, you want a seasonal shower curtain? You know that thing that you never ever replace? But Viper, the thing is that, like, the thing with Viper is that Goku has a child, so I don't like to think that they procreated, but he never kissed her. I feel like I know that Goku's like whatever, like a man child, but I'm like, I don't know. I assume that all the stuff that makes sense, like that union makes sense, just all happens off screen. And I'm just like looking for curtain. I'm just purchasing a curtain. Do you ever like look at something and you're like, oh, and then the next thing you know, you're like, wait, I'm slowly transitioning from like looking at mode to like considering it in my house mode. Like, damn you, capitalist propaganda. Excited. Once vaccinated. I haven't been in a store that wasn't a gas station on the corner in so fucking long. Gas stations are fun. I want to think of like one more thing to just completely, just totally tear out a new one. We're gonna look at cartoons. We're gonna do cartoons in general. Cool, we're already getting somewhere. You're like, look at all these cartoons. Disney fans debate over unrealistic bodies of cartoon characters. Is that a real? Is that a real headline? That feels like a joke. They're like, the definition of cartoons is to create unrealistic characters. Because Cookie Monster's a robot now. That's fine. Droopy now. That's the stuff. Story you're most looking forward to casually browsing in. Now that I'm almost vaccinated, I can think about the stores I'm looking forward to browsing in again. The brand. Never been there before, but you remind me that mine might be H Mart. H Mart. It's funny. I don't really miss H Mart. Trying to think of. This is gonna be a joke answer, obviously, but I'm trying to think of what I actually miss. I do miss. I do miss like the CVS like makeup aisle. Just like you're like, I'm so bad at putting on makeup. I almost never do. But I enjoy like dreaming that I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get really good at this like liquid eyeliner, and I'm gonna have fucking cat eyes, or I'm gonna have like the perfect. I'm gonna finally find the lipstick that is my favorite lipstick. Now that I'm almost vaccinated, I can think about the stores I'm looking forward to browsing it again. quiet clock emporium. The brown shoe outlet. I love the makeup aisle. I miss. If you went to H Mart now, it would probably be mostly okay unless you're immunocompromised. Not sure it would live up to your browsing expectations though. My favorite part about H Mart, first of all, I do miss like I really miss like just grabbing some sushi. Like before improv classes, I would just like grab sushi, and that was fun. I also miss like going into the bathroom and like listening to K-pop really loud over the speakers. Yeah. And I miss like their candy and stuff. I don't know. I miss getting like a little thing. Now that I'm almost vaccinated, I can think about the stars I'm looking forward. Browsing again, the quiet clock emporium, the brown shoe, single shoe outlet. Haircut. Haircut. Billing. Haircut. Haircut tower. Yeah, and then I was like, I really want something very like ominous. Haircut tower. Name. Whispers. Targeted. Oh yeah, I do miss like going into Target and getting like a top. I always feel like I could get like cute, cheap things. I know it's like all the product of capitalism. I'm like, I know like all clothes you see are made by hand. They haven't figured out how to do that by machines yet. So if you're buying clothes that are cheap, someone is being exploited somewhere. And even if the clothes are expensive, that still may not reflect on the manufacturing processes and the fairness of it. But if you're buying cheap clothes, then it definitely does. So it's like, but I'm just like, I just want a shirt. Everything falls apart. That's not my part. I don't know how implicated in this anime. Now that I'm almost vaccinated, I can think about the stores I'm looking forward to browsing again. The quiet clock emporium, brown single shoe outlet, the haircut tower, the the subway, the sub shop, the subway, the the burger bun, the melancholy fry, the burrito, the small, the tower, the small gift, Auntie Meridian, the small gift hole. What's it called? Like a small, expensive. What's a good thesaurus word for hole? Like hobby hole, like a cubby. I'm making a Google image search for thesaurus. That's really helpful. The hubby hole. I just want like a hole, a nice good hole. The nook. The dimple, the depression. The lacuna. Lacuna is a fun word. the pocket, the void, the crater. This is the real fun part about writing, when you just can't think of a good word. The vacuity, the niche, like a niche notch. The carb. I like all these fake places to browse in. We don't talk about columbariums enough. Oh, is columbarium in there? Where are you, columbarium? I don't think I see it. One day it'll be all the rage. No, but columbariums are like buildings of nothing but niches. That sounds cool as shit. Give me a store like that. I think I'll read a couple more before I call it quitsy witsy for the evening. In the 90s, the wackiest character was also the least morally compromised. This also applies to today in true life. Either for funerary urns or for pigeons. All for pigeons. This is from, I don't know why I thought of this. All pigeons could turn white and become doves if they don't like it. They just don't see, don't approve of the arbitrary. All pigeons could turn white and become doves if they felt like it. They just approve the arbitrary nature of success. Pretty good one. If you're enjoying the stream, I don't know where I'm at with text right now, but if you're enjoying the stream, I'll just put this up. Feel free to check out our Patreon at 2MB Studios, patreon.com/2MB Studios. This is an easy way to support the channel. Other ways to support the channel are going to 3-week stack courses and picking a course there. They're only 3 weeks and they're all good. Take a course there and tell them that we sent you, and we'll make a little money. Also, feel free to thank you, Abolish. Woo! Everybody, give lots of snappy wappies. That's not how you should say that. Give a whole squadron of snaps for Abolish. Thank you, Abolish. We appreciate your patronage, your literal patronage. But yeah, everybody, and Pfeiffer also is also a patron. Feel free to jump on there and help us start to pay our artists and start to help create something from this that is self-sustaining. Because we all work pretty hard and it's a pretty we like it. You can also go to breadgear.net if you want to check out our cool merch. We have lots of merch. I think it's on sale right now. TeePublic does. I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of a heads up. TeePublic does sales pretty regularly. There's not a particular reason why you should buy any of the merch when it's not on sale. Check breadgear.net. They're on sale right now. If you miss the sale, check in a few days or a week or so. There's very likely another sale. They do the sales a lot. Just wait for one of those, and then you get the stuff pretty cheap. And so that's what I would do if I were you. And we have really cute shirts and stuff, as I went over at the top of the show. Also, we have shows all week. If you like this one, our shows are different. We have shows, and they're different. We have a Marxist talk show tomorrow at 7:30, and also a wrestling show at 8. Also, if you stop by here at 7, we'll be hosting for the first half hour a fundraiser for Stop API Hate that is organized by Marcus Cardona in collaboration with, I think it's the Tiny Cupboard and one other person. But what's important to know is that if you watch this channel at 7, you can see the start of that, and then you would hop over to the Marcus's channel, and you can see the rest of it, and you can watch people play Among Us for a good cause and access for a good cause. And we have a bunch of people. We have 5 people from our channel playing over there. They are our two ambassadors, and we think that's pretty cool. And that's Neurotic Fodder, I think it is. Neurotic Fodder is the Twitch. That's the Twitch handle of them. So you can go see that tomorrow, starting at 7. And they are raising money for, again, Stop AAPI Hate, which is a group. Cool. So, yeah, I think this is a great place to wind it up. I don't feel like I quite have necessarily anything else to say or any other jokes to write for you all. But again, I'm really thank you all for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your week, a great rest of your month. If you are, thank you, thank you for the kind words. If you are in the middle of your vaccinations, good luck. I have my second vaccination on Friday. I am looking to get my shit fucked up for the weekend, just in time for the weekend. I'm excited about that. And otherwise, have a great night and sleep well. And don't have weird dreams. Just have, good dreams. Cool, that's all for me. Good night, good luck, and good posting.